Hello and welcome to Gold and Silver Assets. It's the 23rd of January 2020. So, should you be buying physical gold right now? Before we start, I just like to make sure you know I'm not a financial advisor, and so it's very important that you do your own research so that you can own your own decisions. So these are just simply my thoughts on this subject. And the reason that we're talking about this is that one of the viewers made a comment asking the following question. So he said that he wants to buy 50k worth of gold in bulk. Should he wait or jump in right now? Now, this might sound like a very simple, straightforward question that only requires a yes or no answer, but actually it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of question. The answer will actually differ depending on who's asking. So you might think that the spot price of gold and predicting the direction that it's going to go in is all that matters for this question, but actually it isn't. The first factor that you need to consider is where you live and what currency you're purchasing your gold in. So historically, every single fiat currency without exception has ended up going to its intrinsic value, which is basically zero. They've all collapsed. You might think that the US dollar is strong, but it's lost actually 97% of its purchasing power since the 1900s, and it continues to do so. And in fact, all currencies are losing their purchasing power. They're just losing it at different rates. So the US dollar is losing its purchasing power at a slower rate compared to other currencies. And that's the way to think about it. So it really depends how quickly your currency is losing its purchasing power. So here are just a couple of examples. So in gold priced in Turkish lira, the price went from around 2,500 lira in 2013 up to 8,000 lira in 2018. So that's a big rise. And that's just a reflection of that drop in purchasing power. And even worse is gold priced in the Venezuelan bolivar. So the price went just in 6 months, it went from around 40 million bolivar to 300 million bolivar. So if you're in a currency where purchasing power is dropping rapidly, then don't wait to buy gold. Don't even think about the price, because if you wait, then you're going to lose your purchasing power with the cash that you hold. The next factor that you need to consider is the availability of physical gold where you actually live. So one viewer commented on my last video that he lives in Germany, and at the moment there he's got a 3-day wait for obtaining precious metals, and certainly there have been reports of queues outside gold and silver dealers. And so if there's any suspicion that there's going to be shortages of gold in your country, then don't wait to think about the price if you want to hold precious metals. Another factor that does cause shortages is actually a drop in price. And there have been times where mints such as the US Mint have actually suspended gold coin sales and gold bullion sales. So one example is in 2009. This is just one of the headlines from then. And of course in 2009, that was where we had a large drop in the gold price. And the similar thing occurred in 2013. Again, that was following a large drop in the gold price. So the lesson there is that just because prices are low doesn't mean you'll be able to get hold of the physical metal when you want it. So when you're purchasing physical precious metals, you pay a premium over the spot price, and that premium does not remain constant over time. It is actually something that does vary, and it can vary due to a number of factors, including supply and demand. So when the price of the metal is low and demand outstrips supply, that's when the premiums go up. So here's an example of the eBay Gold Eagle average premium over spot. And most of the time the premium is around 5% over spot. However, if we look back in late 2008, the premium spiked up to 25%. And so that negates any drop in the spot price. So just because the spot price is low doesn't mean you'll be able to actually buy the physical metal at that price. There's always the premium to consider. And this was even more drastic when we look at silver. So again, in late 2008, when the price of silver dropped significantly, the premium over spot was almost 80%. And so the drop in the price on the spot price didn't actually matter. So if your main goal is to have the physical metal in your possession, then don't necessarily wait for a large drop in price, because those are the times when you may not be able to get it, or you may not be able to get it at the price that you're hoping for. So let's look at price itself. Now, this is a monthly chart of gold price in US dollars. And if you're looking at this as this is a long-term bull market and we're only part of the way through it, then we're thinking that we can expect much higher prices to come. In which case, the little trading range we're in now, which is approximately $150, actually won't mean much in the future. If we look back here, some of these price changes may have seemed quite dramatic at the time, but now that prices have shot up, these just have smoothed out and actually don't mean very much. And it may well be the case that these price changes are pretty minuscule compared to future prices. But of course, we all want to bargain and we want to maximise the amount that we can purchase. However, remember, it's notoriously difficult to pick bottoms in price action. But let's have a closer look. So this is the price range that we're looking at, with the upper level being $1580 and the lower being around $1380, let's say. Now, where do we think price is going to go? There's a few different options here. And as I've spoken about in my recent videos, there is a lot of overhead resistance in this area over here. And I think it's going to take more than one or two goes to actually burst through there, unless, of course, we have some major geopolitical events. And that's actually what caused this little spike here, which subsequently fizzled off. So my idea is that if we do get any up movement, it's going to be short-lived and it will get rejected. And I would only change my mind about that if we get a close above the 1580 level and price actually stays above there. I think more likely is that we're either going to get more sideways movement or we're going to get downwards movement. Now, price action is very difficult to judge at the moment. It's not a nice, clean trading setup that I can see here. And so it's unknowable where price is going to go at the moment. But my scenarios consider either price will stay within this triangular range here before shooting up, or price will correct more again before moving up, and it's knowing where that bounce point is. So as I said, it's very, very difficult to determine which of those is going to happen based on what we're seeing now. What we can say is that there is a lot of support in this area, and there's even more support over here. So what should our viewer do? Well, I'm going to base this on my hunch that there are going to be slightly lower prices to come. The question is how low. So one option would be to assume that prices will go at least to this level and buy the whole chunk of your purchase there. But then you would have to accept that if price did by any chance drop, and it's not impossible, then you would have to accept that you're not going to buy at these lower prices. I think it's a lower probability that we're going to go there, but as I said, it's not impossible. And so the buyer would need to accept that we're not going to be able to pick the bottom exactly. However, I would expect a bounce up after that. Another option would be to buy half of the purchases at this level, so that's around $1,500 and then dollar cost average thereafter. And that would be irrespective of whether price goes up or down. Of course, you don't want to split the purchases too much because the premiums do tend to be lower if you buy more ounces. So these are just a couple of strategies that I would think of in this case. But as I said, the price action here is behaving quite strongly and there's no clear pattern to tell us which direction it's going at the moment. So it's not an easy decision. Anyway, thanks for listening and don't forget to like and subscribe and we'll see you in the weekend show. Thanks for listening. Bye.